I'm going to introduce you to what I think is one of the most important concepts in psychology. It is the thing that makes it so hard to think of our childhoods as anything less than perfect, and also the thing that makes so many of us deeply critical of ourselves. It's called the moral defense, first explained by psychiatrist Ronald Fairbairn in 1943. Children who are hurt by their parents will usually blame themselves. This is actually a very clever survival adaptation that keeps the bond with our parents strong. Because we need them to keep us alive, our mind doesn't want to think of them as being bad. This means that when we are treated badly, we assume it's our fault, that we are bad, because thinking of our parents as bad is far too frightening for our survival. We need them to be good in order to feel safe. Instead, we make it a story about ourselves rather than them. This way, we keep the illusion that we're in control, and we believe that if we behave better next time, we'll be loved. This means all our anger and hurt gets turned on ourselves. We think we aren't good enough, and we become very critical of ourselves. As adults, we might think that we're stupid, that no one likes us, or we're always feeling guilty about something. This all happens outside of our awareness. You won't know that you're doing it. But often our critical inner voice comes from this unconscious belief that we are bad, so that we can maintain the belief that our parents are good. We carry the idea that we are bad into our adult life, and it underpins much of our capacity to love ourselves. We don't feel capable in our studies or at work, and put huge pressure on ourselves to do well. We imagine that our friends hate us or our partner secretly thinks we're ugly. We might always think that people are angry at us or that we're going to get into trouble at work. Or maybe we tug at our bodies, hating how we look. We're waiting for everyone else to realize the thing we are sure is true, that we are awful people. Reassurance from others does not help. Even positive affirmations don't really change the way we feel about ourselves, because the feelings are not about us. They are about the caregivers who hurt us. We need to find a way to feel those feelings towards the people who hurt us so that we don't turn that anger and hatred in on ourselves. The solution is to turn those feelings back onto the people they belong to, the ones who hurt us. It is uncomfortable, but we need to shift the narrative from I am bad to I was treated badly, and start to get angry and upset with the people who did that to us. This is why psychotherapists always harp on about your parents, because they're trying to get you to connect to how let down you may have been by them, so you can start to free yourself from blame. This is also one of the hardest parts of healing. It can feel disloyal to get angry with our parents or see them as bad in any way. However, by refusing to see any flaws, you can end up turning all the anger and blame onto yourself. Feeling let down does not equal blame. It's not Mum's fault she was an alcoholic who shouted. She was shouted at when she was younger. It wasn't Dad's fault he was depressed. His own dad died when he was little. Your parents were once children too, and their mistakes will have a root just like yours. Just because you're seeing them as flawed, it doesn't mean you don't love them. It just means you're no longer protecting them. We are allowed to feel more than one feeling at once. It can feel really confusing to go through this, but it's a sign of great emotional maturity to be able to feel both love and hate for someone, both pride and envy, both anger and warmth. If you're hearing this and wrestling with these things, I see you. This was and still is one of the hardest parts of therapy for me. It's also been one of the most healing. As I began to realize that there was never anything wrong with me, I was able to stop being so harsh on myself. For many, myself included, once they let themselves feel the full extent of their hurt feelings towards their families, they become more compassionate to their child selves and start to realize that they are not bad at all. They were only made to feel like they were, by people who were probably also once made to feel bad about themselves.